It's the 20th anniversary of Kingdom Hearts releasing in North America. I didn't get the game day one, but the idea that we've reached 20 years of the franchise existing in the world is still a sentence I'm getting used to saying. 20 years of Kingdom Hearts, and the majority of it was covering the Darkseeker saga, a story spanning over many games, and only completing itself with Kingdom Hearts 3 a couple of years ago. Now we're heading into the Lost Masters arc, a story that likely is going to test our knowledge about the series and test our characters in ways we haven't seen done yet, or at least to the extent that I predict. The basis of the Lost Masters arc is that a lot of what we've been seeing over the years in Kingdom Hearts Key, in Kingdom Hearts Dark Road, Union Cross, the epilogue is going to be brought to the surface, brought to the numbered titles. This is about to be the main story for everyone now, not just something on the side where we're playing Melody and Memory and Kingdom Hearts 3 and Remind, but a main major piece of the lore. To a lot of people, it's already been that for years. After Kingdom Hearts 3 ended, the most major story we were getting was from Union Cross's finale, from Dark Road's finale that just finished. And both were amazing, like knocked it out of the park. Like, I'm in love with this. And if Nomura has this style of writing going into Kingdom Hearts 4, I am beyond excited for what they have in store for us. And a big reason I'm so excited for it is because I feel like the dialogue in Union Cross, the dialogue in Dark Road, is written in a way where characters are, I guess, thinking a lot more, a lot deeper about the concepts of light and darkness as a whole in their universe. A theme of Dark Road, to a degree, is that light and darkness are not as black and white, simply a matter of perspective. Now, of course, a lot of the Kilo Wooters in Dark Road are fighting for light. They're being trained as Kilo Wooters of light. Of course, you have characters like Ericus, who see light as absolute. It's sort of a family tradition for him to see it like that. Then you have characters like Xehanort, who they fight for light in Dark Road as well, but they're a little bit more on the side. They can go either which way, just as long as their logic justifies it. And there's even other characters in Dark Road who aren't as pure as Ericus. What they're doing, what they really want in their lives, is a point of discussion in Dark Road, essentially. And in some of these cutscenes, like with the Master or with some of the classmates in the underworld, you get a little bit of a deeper dive, a deeper discussion into these concepts. Things that were introduced beforehand in Kingdom Hearts and other games like Kingdom Hearts 2, where you had talks with this like Xemnas right before the final battle. You didn't go extremely deep into it, but the Nobody stories had hints of these concepts, and they were interesting at the time. The reason for beating Xehanort, the big driving factor behind it, I wouldn't say is entirely motivated by his dark desires or him destroying the world in KH3, but rather because he directly impacted nearly every Guardian in some way, shape, or form. Now, because Xehanort wanted to do those things, they had to fight him. They felt like they needed to fight him, but it was also a big want. Like, I'm sure even without the whole Kingdom Hearts and destroying the world aspect, that a lot of them probably would have wanted to fight Xehanort because of what he did to them, what he did to their characters, their friends. There was a little bit of revenge mixed in there, even if it wasn't directly stated. The Master of Masters, I think, is going to be one of the best villains, I hope, in the series. Just based on what I've seen in Union Cross and in Key. A villain that actually questions the character's motives, and I mean really questions them, not just throwing out a random question here or there, and then going back to their normal dialogue or their normal baiting, not just throwing out threats or saying you're gonna lose and I'm gonna destroy this world while monologuing to you about how you'll fall to darkness eventually, or I'll make you fall to darkness. As cool as like they do it. I mean, that cutscene with young Xehanort and Toy Box and KH3 I think is very cool. Sora just attacking, he's just constantly disappearing while Xehanort's just monologuing.
When they are worlds apart, can cloth and plastic hold on to their hearts? All I needed was a wedge to widen the divide. Someone like you to fill them with distrust and doubt, and that chasm you created can be filled with a vast darkness. Witness it for yourself.
I always love moments like that in Kingdom Hearts, but I mean really piercing into the characters' brains to really make them think about, which is why I'm so excited to see the Master interact with characters like Sora, characters like Riku, maybe even characters like Yen Sid in the future, or other Masters who are out there like Aqua, Mickey. Now, maybe they respond in just a super basic way about some of these things, but the way the Master articulates himself, you always want to listen. That's why he's one of the most entertaining characters on screen, despite being a relatively recent character to the franchise. Every time the Master talks, it's something interesting, something super in-depth, something you have to rewatch and double take and analyze, because he says so much, but in such a interesting way. He's the closest thing to a starting point we can look at for the Kingdom Hearts franchise. He has all this knowledge, all this info, all this interpretations and perspectives of things that not really any other character can have. Now, the Master, at the end of the day, as far as we know for his motives, he also wants to defeat darkness. He wants to defeat the pure being of darkness. Darkness at its core, the ones we heard talked about in Union Cross and Dark Road. And he's willing to make countless sacrifices to do it. Now, he has a backup plan for the Foretells. He has some sort of backup plan, safety net for Luxu and the rest of them, but it's a little bit up in the air. It's a little questionable. He allowed a huge society to fall just because of this big plan he has. And it makes you wonder, did it have to go that way? Even if he says so, was that really the case? And then we have this wild card mixed in, Quadratum, a world that is seemingly without light or darkness, without those core concepts. How would that affect the Master's perspective? How would that affect Sora's? Does Sora come back from Quadratum with the same, perspective, the same light is right perspective that he had before, or does he kind of become a more questionable character? Where does that go? Where does he sway? That's a risky thing to do, but would they do it? But with this next saga and the way they're trying to change the structure of the story, shift the structure of the story for Kingdom Hearts, I think it's possible, or not entirely impossible. Imagine interactions with Riku and the Master of Masters, Ansem and the Master of Masters, and the dialogue potential there is for scenes like those. A story that's mysterious, a story that questions what the series is even about, and just a story I overall just can't wait to get into. And I've done so much talking about the Master, but we also have Luxu. Luxu has lived a life over generations of Keyblade wielders. He's seen Scarlet Kylam at its peak, at its fall. He was there for Union Cross, he was there for the ending of all of that, and he was there throughout all of Sora's adventure. Luxu also has a perspective that I'm very interested in seeing, and there's slight hints there that Luxu might end up being on our side at the end of all of it. I wouldn't be surprised if Luxu and the Foretellers did end up, somehow coming over to Sora and Riku's side and going against the Master after everything falls through. But the lead up to that, the build up to that is going to have to be very convincing. There's just a lot to go into, a lot to be excited about, and a big core of why I'm so excited is because of Dark Road. Is because of the mystery, because of Union Cross, because those stories were so good. I just have a lot of confidence in the future story of Kingdom Hearts. And I also want to hear what you think. Are you just as excited as I am about the future of the story? Did Dark Road and Union Cross convince you that the future story of Kingdom Hearts is going to be solid, going to be good? How are we feeling as we anticipate the next trailer or reveal for Kingdom Hearts 4, whenever that is? Maybe the end of this year, probably early next year. Let's get a discussion going down below in the comments. But if you enjoyed today's video, you already know what to do. Leave a like, share it with a friend or a family member, and last but not least, if you have not already and want to become part of the Union, all you have to do is hit that red subscribe button down below. My name is Prodigy, and I will talk to you guys soon. Peace out, you guys. Bye.
Now she's a daydreamer. She's always thinking about him. No more room in this picture. You'd have fit in. Now she's crying on the phone, telling you she's not good enough for him. When you think that she is perfect.